Okay, so anyway, I saw that video title and I was like, yeah, okay, you know what? Sometimes I'll tell you, because prophecy is one thing, but sometimes they do soup up the titles of the videos a little bit to make it sound more dramatic than what the content actually is. Well, anyway, if you suffer along with it and just go with it anyway, you'll find that God has a present in there for you anyway. So anyway, I listened to his video and it made me realize that God wanted me to tell people, tell you guys, tell the world about the dream that I had last night. And so I'm going to tell you guys about it. And here's the thing, like I said, I initially had the feeling of like, well, I can't tell anyone about it because they're not going to believe me. And my feeling has been like, I admit I've had this feeling, and the feeling is, if I can't see it working, then it's not going to work. Well, that's really a feeling that's really a lack of faith, is what that really is. And just because you can't see how something can work doesn't mean that you should discard it. Doesn't mean that you should discredit it. Doesn't mean any of that, because you know what? Sometimes God will give you something to do something with it, and you might not ever do anything with it because you don't think anything can be done with it. But how disrespectful to God is that? You need to, I need to, we need to start listening to what God says. We need to start doing what he tells us to do. We need to start sharing the things that he gives us, because you never know what it's going to do. You never have any idea what it's going to do. And especially when you think it's not going to do anything, that is the time to do it, because you never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to link up. So anyway, here is the dream, and when I explain this dream, I kind of remember some of it, but it's fuzzy. So as I'm explaining this dream to you guys and recalling this dream to you, I'm going to be remembering more things, like, as I'm telling it, okay? So this is really exciting. This is going to be a revelation. This is definitely going to be a revelation. So, I had this dream last night, and I don't really know how I ended up where I was, but I was in this hotel room. I was in like this hotel room, and there were other people there, and my good friend, some of my friends were there. Some of my really good friends were there. My friend Cian and my friend John, and I'm kind of just remembering them being there. Like, it's very vague, like who was actually there with me. But anyway, what was going on was we had guns. And we were getting shot at. People were shooting into our hotel room, and we were in that hotel room. And let me be clear on this: we were not hiding. That is not what we were doing. That's a really important distinction in this dream. We were not hiding, okay? We weren't. We weren't hiding. We were like, okay, first off, you know what? If you're getting shot at, you take cover, right? You don't run and hide. No. You take cover. So we were taking cover. In other words, dude, like, and I remember this, there's a lot of things going on. I'm talking about, like, this was a confrontation with the enemy. This was a frontal assault, full on capacity. Like, we were facing the enemy and we were getting shot at. So, not with that being said, that wasn't even a big deal. That was not a big deal. That's what was going on, and I understood the seriousness of the situation. The mood and the seriousness of the situation was what was astounding to me. It had my attention. It was like, I understood. I was like, like, we gotta be careful, And so I'm laying on my stomach in this room, and it's a very black room. It's like, it reminds me, and this is funny, it reminds me a lot of the Call of Duty Black Ops game, like the first Black Ops. Like there's some maps, um, and even the second one, probably the second one, some bonus maps somewhere in there, remind me of this dream. But anyway, so we're in here, right? And we're getting shot at stuff, and stuff is going on, and things change. Things change, and now I'm outside. And here's the thing. What we were fighting against slash trying to survive wasn't like it wasn't like some crazy people. It wasn't like these crazy people. It's like well, what can you think of when you're like in armed forces or something like that? It wasn't like we were in armed forces. It was like we were like, dude, first of all, we were like, oh my gosh, see, look, here's another one. Look, we were assassins. We were assassins, but we were good assassins, right? We were the ones who take out the enemy. That's it. And what is a good and what is a person who takes out the enemy? Is that a bad guy? Is that an enemy? No, of course not. It's a good guy. You're a good guy if you take out the enemy, right? So anyway, you know, I'm trying to explain like what threat we were facing. So we were facing this threat that was like, it was like a very Big Brother-esque threat. It was like a very like, oh shoot, bro, like, you know, these guys that we're fighting right now and who are fighting and who are shooting at us are behind all of this. They're behind it all, man. They're behind it all. And I'm not going conspiracy theory here. I'm going truth theory. I'm going truth, you know, because when we got out of that hotel, we weren't running. And here's the other thing too, right? So when I got out of the hotel, I wasn't running like I was doing something wrong. But here's the thing. The enemy was trying to make me feel that way. They were trying to make me feel like, they were like, yeah, see, look what you've done. Look what you've done. How could you dare step out of line? That's what the enemy was saying, right? But we were like, dude, first off, we know that you're Satan, so, you know, you can, pardon my French, you can suck it. You're gonna get shot at. We're not bowing to you, you know? That's the deal. We're not bowing to you. So, but anyway, so I get outside, and I'm in a neighborhood that I love with all my heart, and this is a real neighborhood that exists. This is the neighborhood, one of the neighborhoods I grew up in, where my grandparents lived, and I was running down those streets, and I was like, because it was like this thing. It was like, okay, time is of the essence here, and I need to do what's right, and of course, so it's like, what am I gonna do now? And I'm telling you guys, like, if you guys watching this video can relate to this feeling when you listen to God and you follow His voice, it's like riding a roller coaster sometimes, because He takes you where you couldn't go on your own. He takes you where you couldn't go on your own. He takes you in a way, on a path that you couldn't imagine. It's like, God, I don't know what to do. Father, please give me an answer. Am I supposed to take A or B? And He's like, actually, you're actually supposed to do. He's like, you know what? Why don't you just do Z? And then you're like, what? And then He's like, here you go. So I'm in the streets. That's what this situation was like. I'm in the streets in the neighborhood. And like, this is a very, like I said, this is like, dude, this is like the most peaceful, loving neighborhood that I can imagine. That like, I just love so much. I love this neighborhood so much. And this is a real one. This is a real place, like, again, that I'm describing. And so I'm like, I'm walking down the street. I'm like, and there's definitely like an emergency vibe going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm remembering some of the dream now. I remember. Okay. So I guess this doesn't really matter if I tell you geographic locations, because what does it matter, right? So gospel matters a lot. That's why I'm going to tell you. Okay, well, I'll keep it locked for now. But anyway, so wherever we were getting shot at from the hotel, or wherever we were in that hotel where things were going on, and I mean these guys were getting close in there, and they were like, some of the people that were in there, they actually got into our room, and they were like not shape shifting, but they were like ordinary people who were really, 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 really bad, but they were posing as just like everyday ordinary people. And so anyway, we got out of there, and I remember leaving there, and I remember I'm getting to the main point of this story. I remember leaving there. I remember driving at some point on a highway, which I know is very familiar to me. I know exactly where I saw this place in my mind in the dream. And I was driving on this highway, and I might be wrong here, but I think I was driving fast on the highway, and I was avoiding people. In other words, driving on the shoulder to get around under traffic, and I was like, dude, you know what? First off, survival is key. So, you know what? All these other laws, driving the speed limit, that's out the window right now. So, anyway, I can't remember if this happened after or before the Trump car. But here's where it gets awesome. So, like I said, I'm in that little neighborhood, and I'm not walking down the street casually. I'm not just like casually walking down the street. I'm like, something happened, and I'm like, dude, like I gotta go, and I gotta go now. I gotta go now. And I look, and there's this little car on the side of the road. And this is the part of the dream that immediately told me, no matter how awesome this dream was, nobody was going to believe me, and it was too crazy to even share. But this is what I'm not making this up, okay? I'm not making any of this up. This is what I dreamt last night. I go to this car, and I'm talking about like when I'm moving. Like God, like I'm like, dude, God, you need to help me. I need your help. You need to get me where I need to go. I need to go where I need to go. So let's go. Like please help me. Let's go. And this car is funny. It's like a little funny, little short, little. It's like a trying to think of what it's like. Not like a Chevy Metro, but like a because that's way too small. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But it's like it's hard to explain. It's just like a small little car. Not like abnormally compact or anything like that. Not like these retarded smart cars they have nowadays. But it, anyway, so I get in that car. And I'm driving, and somehow, either he tells me in an earpiece, he tells me from the spiritual realm, like Obi-Wan is talking to Luke, use the Force, Luke. Somehow I hear Trump. Like, I'm telling you, this is exactly this. Dude, like, I had a dream, man. Donald Trump told me something. He told me something in the dream, okay? So, I get into his car, and it's, okay, this is the part, like I said, nobody's gonna believe me, but that's why I'm sharing this. It was his car, okay? It was his car. This was Donald Trump's car. There's a lot of symbolism there's a lot of symbolism to draw out of this. But his car was just parked on the side of the street in my favorite neighborhood. Perfect, beautiful, peaceful neighborhood. And it was just there. And, this is how boss and baller President Trump is. He has a lot of money, yeah. But you know what else he's got? Tact. He's got tact, okay? So, he's got stuff sitting around where he needs it. He's got stuff he needs specifically placed where he needs it. And this is true of God too, of course, but beyond and on another level. But anyway, so I get into this little car, right? And I turn around and I start driving, and I'm like, I'm like, dude, this thing is going. And you know what President Trump says? He says, he says, yeah, it's my go car. That's why I have it. It's my go car. I'm like, what? And so I'm like flying. I'm flying in this car, and it's just so crazy. And just like that thought alone is just like so mind-boggling. I can't even like. It's such a hard thing to explain. It's just so amazing to me. But yeah, he was like, "It's my go car." He says like so nonchalantly, like it's no big deal at all. So really, this car that looked like a Chevy something that looked really kind of uh bumperish and like it's so hard to explain. I just can't find the right words for it. Um, Help me God. It looked like a blue colored like Hot Wheels car almost. Like it's hard to explain. It was just there. It was like they're hiding in plain sight. It's a thing that you would never expect to do what it did. And I got in that car and it started up and it was just like, yeah, this thing works. What did you expect? You know? Why did you think it wouldn't work? It's like this car is this car is going to haul you at the speed of light anywhere you need to go. So I'm driving this car and I'm just like flying around, and all I know is that like, dude, stuff's happening. But now I'm in President Trump's go car, and the feeling of victory, um, yeah, the feeling of being in that hotel room was gone. You know, there wasn't really that much. There was not really uncertainty in that room, in the hotel room. It was just like, okay, obviously, you know, we don't want to die. We don't want to get shot. We don't want to fail. So, we don't want to fail. You pay attention. You try hard. You do a good job. You take your time. You try to do the best possible thing, right? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, man, I don't know if we're gonna make it. It wasn't like that, but it was like, okay, you know what? We kind of know what we're facing here, and this is pretty crazy. So, let's really, let's dial it in, boys. But when I got in that car, it was like the feeling of like, you know, God has a different plan, and He's got a different plan, and it's gonna surprise you, and that is complete. That is the complete truth. Okay, God's plan is gonna surprise you, because you know what? There's gonna be things that He does that don't surprise us, but let me tell you, there's going to be things He does that do surprise you, okay? There's a verse, I need to find out where it is, but it says, behold, I do a new thing. And that's what God does all the time. He does new things all the time. So, yeah. But anyway, just want to share that dream with you guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you later.